Okay, hi Alexi. Just confirming if you can hear my audio well, see my video well.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, that is good. Okay, Alexi. Okay, Alexi, I think we're good to start. So let me ask you. Once you're all ready, we can start. Just let me know.
Yeah, like I said, I do experience some technical issues. I mean, we've tried it just a minute ago, and right now my AirPods just wouldn't connect. So yeah, we'll try to do it this way if it's all right. How's it sound on your end?
Yeah, I think it's okay. I mean, you're audible.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I'm ready whenever you are.
All right, then, since I think we're already live. So, hi everyone, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us today for tonight's live AMA session. So, we are very excited to spotlight a project taking a bold and original path in blockchain innovation, which is called Retium. So, in a space that is very crowded with forks and copy paste chains, Retium is building from scratch with a fresh architecture, their new consensus design and even their long term vision for scalable decentralized infrastructure. So, tonight, guys, on this AMA, we'll be diving into their technology, their roadmap, tokenomics, AI integration, and what makes Retium stand out as a next generation Layer 1 contender. So, with that said, let's welcome Alexi, the founder of Retium, to be with us today. Hi, Alexi. Welcome to Crypto Solutions. So, before anything else, can you please say hi to the audience and introduce yourself a little bit, Alexi?
Sure, absolutely. Yes. Hi, everyone. Yeah, thank you for having me. Good day, good evening. Good night, depends where you guys are. Yeah, nice to be here, and I hope we're gonna go through any possible questions just to find any possible answers for you. My name is Alexey. I'm a founder of Retium blockchain. I guess I came from a different business experiences my entire career, but for the last couple of years, I've really been focusing and diving deep into blockchain technology just to try to understand. Um, how the blockchain works, what's the weak spots, what's strong spots they are. And since that, I mean, obviously there are a few weak spots which we can try and do understand about the current blockchains. And this is basically how we get started with Retium. We've tried to think what we can do better and how can can do better. And yeah, this is how the Retium journey begins.
Thank you, Alexi, for that lovely introduction. Once again, we're very happy and glad to have you on board. So, before we dive into the technical side, the roadmap, we'd love to start with the human side of the story. The motivation behind building something this ambitious. Because, as we know, Alexi, there are many projects choosing the easier route, right? But building from scratch usually means that there was a deeper conviction behind it. So, Alexi, let us start with a bigger picture. What inspired you personally to build Retium from the ground up instead of forking an existing chain? And what problem in today's blockchain world kept you up at night enough to do all-in-one prime number logic and this multi-dimensional mesh?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, once again, when we start thinking about the Retium and just to bring something different on a space, I mean, we obviously just found those problems and the issues the current blockchain has. And then the decision was made whether and what we wanted to build. And I guess the simple answer for you would be if you start forking to something existing with the current problems, then you're gonna be bringing all those problems to your new project as well, which really not gonna be making any difference from what we've trying to build here and delivering for blockchain space itself. So the decision was made to build something which is really going to be different from the kind of blockchains you know as of today. And I believe we did find and we built some different approach for blockchain industry and from a blockchain as you know it today as such. So I don't know if I should jump on just explaining what a Retium is and why it's different, but I guess I probably will wait for your next question.
Thank you so much, Alexi, for that. Actually, that's a powerful place to begin with because, getting to know the motivation behind it all, I think it's now very clear and planted on the minds of the audiences that Retium wasn't built to imitate, but it was built to solve, and that is something amazing. Now, Alexi, I know that you've been getting really excited, introducing to us Retium, but let us now help the newcomers to understand what Retium actually is in simple terms, because a lot of listeners may be hearing about Retium for the very first time. So let's simplify this vision for them, okay? So, Alexi, for listeners who are new to Retium, how would you describe the elevator pitch in simple terms? And what makes Retium feel like the next evolution rather than just another layer one?
Yes, absolutely. I guess I'll start with if you understand the blockchains, if you understand what the blockchains do and how they operate today, in the most cases, you'll see that every blockchain or most of the blockchain available today on the space that they're carrying one in the same pane. And the reason is being because every blockchain is built as a linear architecture. So they're built as a linear blockchain, which means they have one block following after the next block. So there is always the next block available in the blockchains, in the most of them. And this is where we're coming from. So, and the problem with this, in my opinion, is when we have just a one state or one block to be provided for all users to be handled or accommodated into this block, the transactions and all activities on a blockchain is they're basically standing in a queue. So this is a problem which we have today, and these queues they're basically creating the problems such as in some instances high gas fees. In some blockchains we can see the blockchains become congested and sometimes they even standing due to the high traffic. So and this is where we thought about Retium and tried to build something different. And when we designed Retium, the Retium itself is built on a prime number logic architecture. And such an architecture of these prime numbers is giving us a possibility to create multiple blocks at once, which is separates Retium from any existing blockchain as of today, layer one blockchains. And what we've created is we created three-dimensional mesh structure as a blockchain itself. So in other words, we've provided our users a possibility to be accommodated into the block at any time they needed to. So with us, with Retium, we don't have to wait for the next block because we do have next block always available for any transactions on a chain. I hope it makes sense. It's a little bit more technical and complicated, but in simple terms, this is exactly what it is. And when people asking me what's a Retium is and what you design it, and I'm telling people, just imagine your human brain. The human brain is a complex structure with neurons. And imagine if each neuron is going to be a single block of in a blockchain. And this is pretty much what the Retium is. So this is a key difference between a Retium and other blockchains available today on the space.
Thank you, Alexi, for that. That's a very excellent explanation, to be honest. And having this kind of clarity matters because the great technology like this so leads a story so that people can understand quickly. So I truly appreciate you for that. Of course, being a not so technical person like me, it was really easier to understand with your explanation. So thank you, Alexi, for that. Now, before we head into the architecture, there's just one question that popped into my mind. Just a random question, Alexi. Where did the name Retium come from? Is it like a combination of words, or is there any like a lore behind it?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Yeah, the retium is actually represent its structure itself. The reti, which is a Latin word coming for its meaning a mesh, a net, or networking as such. And in the end of the retium itself is basically representing a name. So we've combined reti and IUM and it's become Retium. So it's simple, but a little bit, once again, complicated. So I believe the Retium itself is bring exactly what it is in the structure.
That's a good fact. Thank you, Alexi, for that. Now, going back to track, let us move into the architecture that makes Retium unique. I think we're slowly getting technical. So, Alexi, one of the most interesting things about Retium is the role-based validator mesh and the proof of math consensus. And I believe these concepts, these are the concepts that people want to understand beyond the buzzwords, right? So, Alexi, can you walk us through how that actually works in plain English? I mean, how does separating computation, finality, and the storage rules create the instant finality and the spam resistance you're targeting in Retium?
Yes, absolutely. So once again, because we've been building everything from scratch, we couldn't really just avoid the consensus mechanism as well. And the Retium itself, it's built literally on a math of the prime number logic architecture and the logic itself. So with this, I guess the key difference between Retium and other blockchain or consensus is with Retium, validators don't have to compete to create a next block. And this is the key difference because the next block is always available and it's known because the mathematics behind it. So it's mathematically proven through prime number logic architecture. So we had to redesign the consensus from proof of work or proof of stake because we simply don't really need this consensus. And with in a Retium, the validators actually doing a job or work, if you wanted to validate or confirm validity of either block or transaction itself. And this is where the difference comes from. So basically, they check in a simple terms, they check in a mathematic and the logic behind each activity or block itself uh, in a blockchain. So this is why we've called it proof of mathematics. So proof of math is such. Second part of your question is to give you some idea on a logic or workflow how the transaction is being handled on a Retium network. So this is once again where it gets very interesting because we don't need to create a queue of transactions in a Retium due to in a Retium, you always have a place where the transactions can live. So basically, transactions coming on a blockchain and it's been instantly handled by validator and put into the open block, which we already have pre-built. So and due to this, we eliminated as knowing on a different blockchain, as you know, that there are a meme pools, so-called meme pools, which is a basically I usually explain it. It's like a room where transactions are waiting for to be handled by the next validator. So they're sitting in a queue and just waiting when the tune is gonna be. So uh, in Retium, there is no such thing. So when transaction is coming on chain, it's been instantly handled by a nominated validator role, which we call worker. So their job is to handle transactions to make sure it's valid, and they're basically producing instant finality for transactions. So by the time the transaction is going to be into the block, it's already going to be finality. So which is give us a speed and the security over the transaction itself. So, and once the transactions into the block, once again, the roles are separated in a Retium consensus. There is another role which is suits. So they are looking for after the block's finality itself. So their role to look after the blocks and wait once the blocks has become full. They making a block validation, finality, and basically seal this block, which become part of the Retium forever. So this is in simple, I guess, explanation how the finalities work. So basically, transactions coming in be handled by one validators, put into the block, and sealed and the finality by the other ones. So that's a principle of proof of mathematics in a Retium network.
Got that, Alexis. Thank you very much. Actually, that's really fascinating in a way that it's like having the modular specialization, and it actually it's really fascinating how the everything is well thought of. You know how Retium was designed. It shows efficiency. Comes from better structure like this, not just having the faster software. That's really great. Thank you for that, Alexi. Now moving forward, actually, there might be I mean, the following question I have for you, we might have touched on this a little bit, but most users, they know congestion, they know mempool wars, the delays, and even front running, right, as common blockchain pain points. But Retium appears to rethink this model entirely, right? So, building up from the previous answer you provided us, Alexi, one thing that stands out is the complete absence of a shared global mempool and the 3D transaction mesh. So, Alexi, how does that change the developer and the user experience compared to chains like Solana or the new parallel execution L1s that are popping up?
Yeah, so this is exactly the point. So because we could eliminate mempool completely and basically create, like I said, as I already explained, create a space where the transaction can live. So there is no such mempool. And you mentioned a very interesting aspect, which is in the most of the blockchains, we all know the pain of the MEF bots. Uh, the things like, when you're being sandwiched and, basically paying much more than you could afford without it. And eliminating this meme pool, we actually providing a much more better user experience for any user on a Retium blockchain because the simply without having a meme pool, the experience to handle the transactions become much more smoother and much more faster. As I explained before, when transaction is coming on a Retium blockchain, it's been handled by specific role, which is a designed, and their role is only handle transactions itself. So they're not doing anything else. This is what they do. So they take the transactions, make it finality, and eliminating any possible threats like MEF bots, for example. So this is, I guess, a key difference between us.
Got that, Alexis. Thank you very much. Once again, I think we now have like a fuller picture on this, right? Extremely interesting because I love how removing the legacy bottlenecks can dramatically improve both the fairness and the user experience overall, which I think one of the things that makes Retium stand out indeed. And sometimes innovation means removing what others assume must stay, right? So that is really amazing. Thank you, Alexi, for that.
Yeah.
Now
I
let's
must,
talk about yes,
I must add one more very
sure.
important thing is that uh, in Retium, what we also created because of our structure, and once again we're coming back to eliminating mempools and the having pretty much open network for any transactions to be handled. What we could achieve is we could achieve the stable gas prices for Retium users. So, and saying this, with the Retium, it wouldn't be matter whether the network is busy or not busy. So, from user experience, anyone would understand and know what the gas price is gonna be, and in fact, is gonna be always stable. So, uh, With our architecture, we was able to create just different weight of the transactions, which is spreads on in the 5 different categories, and depends on how difficult your transaction is. You're gonna be pay as little as 1 cent for simple wallet to wallet transfer, or about probably 50 cents or 45 cents to deploy the smart contract on the Retium network. And the key point is that those gas prices they're pretty much firm, so they're gonna be stable at all time.
Thank you for that follow up. I think once again, all the details into this. I mean, actually, whenever people hear about technical stuff like this, right, they choose not to understand. But it's really amazing that everything in this AMA, we have simplified it. I mean, even using examples in a way that it can be comprehended. I mean, even someone like me, I'm not a technical person, Alexi, but I totally appreciate you doing your best explaining this simply for us. So thank you for that. Now, another
Uh,
interesting part, Alexi, is the AI side of your ecosystem. And I think you have made a twist on that. You recently introduced RAI. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly, or do we pronounce it as RAI? But it means Retium Artificial Intelligence, right? And this is adding another exciting layer to this vision. I mean, AI plus blockchain is a huge topic right now. So, Alexi, with the recent announcement of the RAI, the Retium Artificial Intelligence, as a parallel project, can you share how RAI will, first act as an internal brain of the network, and what is the long-term vision? Uh, Hold on, let me try to reconstruct this. What long-term vision is it for turning it into like a decentralized AI layer running on Retium? I hope I made that clear. I mean, the question itself. Should I repeat it, Alexi?
I think I've got it. Yeah, I think I've got it. Yeah. So yes, we did. Yeah, we did introduce. We actually call it Ray. So the spelling is different, but you got it right. So it's a Retium Artificial Intelligence, which is the name is Array. And it is not a parallel project. The Ray is actually being integrated into the Retium ecosystem itself. So the way I probably should start a little bit earlier. So when we started Retium itself, the AI technologies already came into the market, and because it's been basically broadcasting and developing so fast, we left so-called the socket for artificial intelligence to be connected to blockchain itself. So right now, what we have done is we've created the array, which is going to be internal artificial intelligence, internal AI for Retium ecosystem. And its specific role is it's been trained especially only for dedicating Retium code and the Retium ecosystem itself. So this is what it's learning. So it's not really designed to be the best powerful AI for users, but it's more being developed to understand the Retium, how it performs, how it should run, what vulnerabilities can it be, what sort of a spam it can detect and control, what bugs it can find, etc., etc. So the Ray is really its main goal for right now is to become AI that understands Retium code from a ground up, from down under. And the reason is it's going to be used to help developers to understand and define easy bugs. It's going to be tracking the real-time networking activity on a blockchain and try to detect any possible spam or hacks or things like it. So this is the first goal and main goal for A, and obviously in the future as we go in the development with the development of Retium itself, there is a plan to have Ray to be for release for public on the blockchain itself. But this is a further goal, which probably a little bit too early to talk right now. So I hope it's answering your question.
Thank you, Alex. Actually, it's a major opportunity area for everybody. I mean, if AI can optimize network operations while eventually becoming a decentralized service layer, that creates value far beyond a normal L1 narrative. So I think introducing Ray is once again a major opportunity area. So thank you for explaining the details on this, Alexi. Now let's talk about where the development stand as of now, as of today, of course. Let's talk about the development side of things. Because the ambitious designs, they can be really exciting, right? But the real world testing is where theory would meet the reality. So, Alexi, as of right now, you're in the private production network phase, if I'm not mistaken. So, what have you learned from the real world testing so far, and what are you most excited to open up during the upcoming public testnet?
Yes. So with the Retium, we've been in the public, in a private test net for quite some time now. So it's probably been more than 3 months, if I remember correct. Uh, since that time when we first launched it and deployed it, basically, we obviously been monitoring, finding bugs, finding problems, finding things like it. During this time, we've been lucky enough just to pick up a few contributors who are helping us to test it and just adjusting code and the things like it. But one of the biggest probably milestone which we just reached recently, it was the first security audit for Retium itself, and which has come up surprisingly good enough for us. I mean, we obviously, I mean, as any big development, we've been provided with a few bugs and vulnerability issues which are being fixed right now and they're corrected. But as you can understand, the layer one blockchain itself, it's a very massive, very massive development in the code. So which is a great. So right now we're on a stage where we going through these findings, I guess, and the suggestions and trying to improve them before we can move to the next stage, which is going to be public testnet. So once we're ready, we're going to be opening Retium for public, and we definitely will be looking for contributors just to come and help us to stress test it before we can move to production. Another thing is I probably should mention is right now we on a process of applying for or waiting for Australian crypto license, which is kind of a bounds us together with the releasing Retium to public, even for public testnet itself. So yeah, this is where we are right now.
Thank you, Alexi, for updating us. And actually, that's very encouraging to hear because the testing phases often would reveal the maturity of a project more than any marketing can ever do. So, that is once again very amazing. And it's good to see that you guys are really building strong. So, thank you, Alexi. Now let's discuss decentralization and validator accessibility. Because many users, actually many networks nowadays, they say that they're saying that they want decentralization, but if participation is too technical, validator sets often become concentrated, right? So Alexi, we've heard that you've been working on a wizard style D app to make running a validator super easy for everybody, even for non-technical people like me. So, Alexi, why was that a priority, and how do you see that helping with decentralization as the network grows?
Yes, absolutely. And once again, the validation network for any blockchain is the key, I guess. When you're building something decentralized, you definitely want to have, I guess, an army of people who joining network and make network stable and secure as well. So, but once again, building something from very beginning, from ground up, we found that. sometimes, or most of the times, if you wanted to become a validator for uh, blockchain, it's become, as you mentioned, very technical and very difficult. And most of the time, you do need to have a skills to set up a node and start it running. And this is not mentioned the price you're paying for staking or secure your node as well. So with the Retium, because we have three different roles of validators, we're really opening a possibility for everyone to come aboard and become a validator. And not just that, I mean, obviously every role will require different staking amount. And as I already mentioned several times on the different spaces, at predictable launch price for Retium coin, you'll be looking to become a validator as simple as probably $100, and having a simple laptop or a free computer having at home, and you can become worker literally just with a few clicks of the button. And this is what you already asked. So yes, we do have a simple D app, Wizard D app, which you're basically downloading from our repository, or as in the terms of a zip file. Open it on your computer, make a few clicks, creating wallet, staking a few RTM coins, and here we go. You become a validator. So it's very easy. It's super friendly, and the goal behind it is to really provide opportunities for everyone to become a validator.
Thank you, Alexi, for that. That is smart thinking, to be honest, because I personally believe, as a non technical person like me, real decentralization usually requires lowering the complexity, not just talking about the ideals, right? So I love how you're opening this, you're creating this to, to open the gates, right? For people. So thank you very much for that, Alexi. I appreciate that a lot. Now, moving ahead, let us, yes. Anything to
Yeah,
add up?
yeah, I believe the blockchain should not be really difficult. I mean, we should make it more simple because we do need a better adoption for blockchain. And I believe this has been a little bit of lacking of, it's how we can promote blockchain industry to just the normal people itself. So this is what we're trying to do: affordable, stable, simple, and everybody can understand it with a few clicks of the button.
Exactly, Alexa. I agree with you, and I believe that would also be the key to mass adoption as well, right? So, thank you very much for that. Now, moving forward, I believe the community tuning in would always want clear milestones that they can follow, right? So, let us take a look, have a glimpse on the roadmap that everybody wants to hear. So, taking a look at the next chapter. Alexa, can you walk us through the next 6 to 12 months from a listener's perspective? Like, what milestone should we be watching for? Maybe the public testnet upcoming, maybe audits, pre sale ICO, mainnet, and other things. And how can the community get involved as early as now that they're hearing this AMA?
Absolutely, yes. Um, the next 6 months to 12 months is going to be super interesting for us. As I mentioned, the very first and important things for us, it's obviously just to obtain a crypto license here in Australia. Once again, this is something probably unusual to hear for blockchain itself, because to be honest, I don't really know much about blockchain having a crypto license itself behind it. But legislations are changing, and we're trying to comply and just following with them as well. So this is a one milestone for us to achieve. Obviously, another one we already been talking about, it's public testnet, which is going to be opening to public anytime soon. So I believe in the next couple of months, we will be dropping it to public, and by all means, we will be any force possible, any help possible from anyone who is interesting to come aboard and test it. Not just from user experience to send money from one wallet to another, but we do open and we have built Retium for developers. It's another topic where I'm happy just to discuss as well. But we do need the developers to come in and test and stress test to deploy different sorts of uh, smart contracts, decentralized applications, and things like it on the Retium using Retium tools and obviously Retium blockchain itself. So, and further up, once again, anytime as we can release a little bit more information about licensing, which we're going to touch a lot in this conversation and the different conversations as well. Yes, we are planning pre-sale and ICO anytime, I don't know, soon, I say, but I don't have an exact date for you, but it is coming. It is going to be announced when the time is right. So obviously Retium is not launched yet. There is no activated coin around. So it's all planned. It's going to be. But yeah, and once it's all happening, obviously we are looking for secondary and maybe more security audits just to make sure that we didn't miss anything before we can go to public testnet to production stage. I guess this is a small, milestones for us, but it's pretty much covering the next 6 to 12 months for me.
Thank you, Alexi. That's a very exciting roadmap there. And the people, being aware of this clear execution milestones would help them as a community, right? To stay engaged and aligned with your long term progress. So, to our audience tuning in, to the Retium community, please keep an eye out, guys. We cannot disclose any specific details or dates as of now, but all of this, guys, you'll be seeing it unfold right before your eyes. So please do follow them on their socials to, of course, keep updated. Thank you, Alexi, for that.
If
Now, yeah, go on.
I just can add one more thing. This question is coming quite a bit. You just asked it as well. How the community can come on board and help us to do
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. But I guess the main and important thing for me, I wanted to say to any community members or people who are really interested in the Retium, just please do go to Retium website, jump on the white papers, try to read and try to understand what we actually build. It doesn't click instantly, but you probably will have to come back and reread it just to understand what we actually create and how it's different. And sometimes it takes people a long time to understand, and literally when they understand how the Retium is structured and how it's different from a current blockchain industry, uh, I'm sure anyone would be interesting just to come aboard and just to stick with us for quite some time, just to be able to spread the word, or maybe you want to become a stress tester, or maybe you want to become the first hands developer on the Retium blockchain itself. So yeah, I just wanted to edit a little bit to it.
Thank you very much, Alexi, for that. And once again, guys, to help you with the links and the socials, I believe the Crypto Solution team has already posted it on the official Crypto Solution channel. So if you're in it, guys, you'll be able to see the compilation of the links of Retium on the pinned post of our global chat. So do check it out. Thank you, Alexi, for that. And since you've mentioned that you guys might be having pre-sale or ICO coming up soon, let us discuss the token economy. And I know this is one of the most exciting topics we have because actually we've discussed the technology. Technology builds the engine, yes, but tokenomics often determines the long term sustainability. So, Alexi, you have the RTM token, right? Which is designed as the economic engine with logic weighted fees, staking for validator roles as well. It can also be used for governance and etc. So it's like an all around token in the Retium network. So, how did you think about making the tokenomics feel fair and sustainable long term, especially with the built in fee burn mechanics that it has?
Yeah. So obviously, yes, the Retium coin and the economics around it is basically anything you do on a Retium network is linked to RTM token, which is the main and the only one, the coin available for Retium ecosystem. So once again, it's links to validators, and this is how validators are getting their rewards or being paid for their job. I rather say, so 99% of gas fees are being distributed to validators. And so there is a exact economics coming in a literally couple of weeks, which is going to be published on our website. This is right now in process. And I said 99%, and the 1% is actually being burned forever, because Retium is deflationary token, coin, which is kind of makes another extra point for or make it interesting for people who into into the coin or investment, I guess. So yeah, everything is linked to Retium token. This is the main currency, I guess, on the Retium blockchain. However, we do have a secondary token, which is called Pi. But that's only a token which is represent the staking for Retium token. So, and we've decided to separate it in two different token in a coin, just for a few reasons, which is to help people to be more flexible with a staked amount of Retium tokens if they become a validator.
That's a very good design. And having that balance is critical, actually. And this is something very great to hear, Alexi. Knowing that strong tokenomics should reward participation while also preserving the long term ecosystem health. So it really matters a lot. So thank you, Alexi, for that. Now, moving ahead, let us talk about what launches first after mainnet. Because once the infrastructure is live, of course, there will be people asking, what about utility, right? The next question would naturally become utility. So, Alexi, once mainnet launches, what kinds of applications or use cases do you see lighting up first on Retium? Would it be gaming, DeFi, RWAs, NFTs, and why does the architecture give those projects a natural advantage?
I wish I can tell you what is going to be next, but it's going to be literally impossible for me, because it will be up to the community and up to the developers who's going to be building on the Retium. So, in fact, the Retium itself, it's open, and as I already mentioned, it's designed for developers to come and build anything you really want to build on the blockchain industry itself, whether it's a real world application, fintech, NFT, um, gaming, anything is possible on a Retium. And not just that, it's very easy to deploy and build on Retium as well. And the reason being, I think I already covered it, but it's not for developers. We try to create a very easy way to deploy, having web application. So I probably have to just step back a little bit and explain what it is, because it's kind of two questions in one, which I wanted to separate. Sorry about it, but it's make a sense after all once I do. So first of all, if you're a developer and if you're trying to build something on a blockchain industry, on a blockchain, you would have to know the native language, code language of any blockchain. So when we've planned the Retium, we've designed, we try to separate this this idea, and what we actually integrated is we've designed so any builder or any developer can come to the Retium and build in any language which is compiled with web application, so-called WASM, and this gives any developer, I guess, a power to not to learn the native Rust language, which is the Retium itself built on, but they can build on any language they know or understand, such as a C or C++, or Go, or anything like it. So basically, it's very super friendly and very easy to build on the Retium itself. And this is comes to the second part of what can Retium have, or what is good for, what utilities it can accommodate on a blockchain. And the answer is very simple. Pretty much anything you can possibly think of, anything you see currently on any blockchains, that but in a very easier way to deploy on Retium network, plus anything else, because it's simply Retium is a scalable, it's a fast, and it's predictable on a gas fees, which is gives developers and the user experience much more um, um, easier way to understand what is going to cost for you as you're running your application or planning to deploy things into. So I hope it is kind of a covers, but I'm very sorry. I've just got a pop-up message saying we're running out of time, so I'm trying to rush myself. I'm not sure if you're seeing it on your end.
No, actually, you're good, Alexi. Actually, I appreciate you um, in explaining all of those things to us. And actually, Alexi, from that previous answer you gave us, you've also mentioned about how attractive this can be for developers, right? I mean, you've mentioned it already, the perks of building inside Retium network. So just a follow-up question from there, since we know how good the environment is with the developers, how are you thinking about attracting these developers, the builders, to Retium, of course, for their creativity, especially with your WASM support and the AI integration on the horizon, the ray?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. As I already explained, and I probably just jump ahead, but we've made we made a Retium super friendly for developers and the super easy as well. So this is a one part which I already explained. But the second part is, I mean, obviously, as we're gonna go production, we definitely will be looking after the developers. Having a Retium foundation as such on a background, we are planning to support and produce grants for those who complying, I guess, with some ideas and happy to build on the radio network itself. Plus, the little things like advertising as well. So it's going to be all bound together just to help people who building on radio to be noticed, and we will try to promote them as well as we go.
Got that, Alexi. This is really great. Once again, it would boost innovation because developers would usually go where the tools are strong, where the users are growing, and where opportunities feel early. So, thank you for that. Now, Alexi, let's talk about community feedback. So, what feedback from the community has surprised you the most? Of course, being the founder, or what feedback from them shaped the roadmap the most for Ratium?
Yeah. With the community, once again, being on a private testnet and invited the few contributors into it, we found that the people who actually have seen the Retium itself, who tried it, who touched it, they really help us to understand what the people, just the normal users, actually want. And this all comes to simple use of any blockchain. So with it, we had few things which we tried to convert and change for better user friendly, to make it simpler, to make it more accessible and affordable for the people who's going to be using a network. I guess the other thing is just a simple thing, since people are usually asking who's behind it, and we're having this conversation right now, so everybody can and they see me and ask me any question anytime. So we're here, we're real, we're built, and we're here for community and future people who's gonna use the Ratium network.
Thank you very much, Alexa, for that. That is actually one of the healthiest signs of a serious project. I mean, you're listening and you're adapting. So, once again, a very good thing to hear. Thank you for that. Now, just a quick question I'd also want to ask, right? We've been talking about how you guys have been really building strong. Sorry for my dog answering in the background. So, just one question I'd like to ask you. Alexi, what is one challenge you're actively working through right now as a team that you're optimistic that the community can help solve with you? Since we touched on the feedback, the previous question.
I guess the main challenge for us is, I probably would say, timing. Really, the time is really a yeah. We wish we had more time and more relaxed time, but right now, I guess that the harder part is past. We like I said, the Retium is up and running. It's been running for quite some time. I mean, it does what it's supposed to. There are, yes, few minor things which we need to change and adopt, but we wish we've been here already for the community and could release it for the public, but we can't yet due to timing being and catching us once again. Legal side, a little bit of technical side, and obviously just we need to find more supporters and I guess a community. So we need to build this before we can go live.
That is good. I can definitely hear the resilience coming from the team, knowing that you guys are doing things together with the community. So that is very great. Thank you for mentioning that and for sharing that with us. Now, Alexi, the next question that I'd like to ask for you is about the bigger vision. So we've got like 7 minutes left on the call. I mean, we'll see, but I only have like a few questions left. But Alexi, looking further out, let's say 2 to 3 years from now, what does the Retium ecosystem looks like in your ideal world, of course, as the founder? And how do you see it changing how people interact with blockchain day to day?
Yeah, that's a very good question, very interesting question. I guess it's a very ambitious as well. But for me, the goal is the finance can sound, but I wanted to see when people, waking up and just instead of just telling and thinking, oh, how to use a blockchain today, they simply can go and start using it the same way probably as they're using internet these days. The way before when the internet just came on online, everybody was to what it is, how to use it, and I guess this is what the current blockchain industry is moving through right now. It's a stage of the blockchain where people still yet to understand what it is. So in a few years, in a 3, 4 years, I mean, it's a long term, but I really believe and I want to hope and see that the Retium is becoming a part of the blockchain where people just doing everyday activities, whether it's a banking, whether it's a gaming, whether it's checking the weather or anything else. They're just using it with a few clicks of the button, and if so, I mean, or maybe possibly using array just to help them to understand and to do things they wanted to do. So yeah, I guess this is gonna be my answer for you.
Thank you, Alexi, for sharing that. That's inspiring because actually the biggest projects don't just launch products. I believe, but I mean projects like Ratium, you guys reshape behavior by having this big vision powering it all. So thank you once again for sharing that, Alexi. Now let's finish this, Amy, with the message you want to be remembered by the people tuning in. So we've covered architecture, AI, tokenomics, roadmap builders, and even the vision. So let us close with the heart of it all. So Alexi, what is the one thing you want every listener to take away from this conversation about Retium and where it's headed?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, this is probably one of the important one, and I'd like to say, as I usually say, it's not that every day you're seeing layer one blockchain is coming on a space, and especially those blockchains who's building completely everything from scratch, everything from a ground up, completely new ecosystem. They validate this network and everything else. So to all of those who are here and listening and trying to understand the project, I really encourage you, jump to our socials, follow us on Twitter or X. Follow us on our Telegram group. Stay connected, understand the Ratium, and make sure just to be there when we're about to launch. So this is what I wanted to leave it with you with.
Thank you for that message, Alexi. And I think that would bring us to the end of today's AMA session. So once again, a huge thank you to you, Alexi, and to the entire Retium team for joining us, visiting the crypto solution community, and giving the community a deeper look into one of the more ambitious infrastructure projects building today. So just to conclude our AMA for tonight, everybody crypto solution community, I think we covered a lot of grounds, right? We discussed the original Layer 1 architecture, the proof of math consensus explained in simple terms, the validator mesh design, the Retium artificial intelligence. We've also touched on the development side of things, on the public testnet, the roadmap milestones, even the RTM tokenomics, guys, and what's waiting for you as a developer. So if there's any developers tuning in, guys, you're very much welcome inside Retium. Plus, we've got to unravel the long-term vision for blockchain usability that Retium is withholding. So, I think what stand out the most, just to end our aim, is that while many projects compete on hype on this market, some would choose to compete on design, on engineering, and long-term risk thinking. So I think this is the main focus that Retium is having. So to everyone who joined us live today, guys, I hope you can further explore into Ratium. You can go to their socials, guys. You can communicate with the team if you have any concerns. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to hit the team up. I think the Crypto Solution team has already provided all the links that is available for you to connect with Ratium directly. Once again, for a final call to action, be sure to follow Retium for upcoming announcements around the mainnet, the ecosystem growth, the public testnet, the pre-sale to be had, ICO to be to happen soon, and the future milestones ahead. So thank you very much once again, Alexi, and we wish all the very best for Retium. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll see you next time, maybe for another AMA for big updates coming up soon. So thank you very much. All the very best.
Till the next time. Thank you.